Whoa. Whoa. Hello everybody and welcome back to the Explained series. Welcome everybody who's interested in analog horror. Welcome. And in today's video we have something very special. The latest installment in the Harmony and Horror series called The Perfect Pet. And if you are new here, my name is Wowman. It's great to meet you. I cover all sorts of analog horror videos like the Mandela Catalog, the Walton Files, and in our last video we did cover Sneaky's Snack Bar. So if you do like this sort of content, please subscribe. Alright, so we are going to be dissecting this video piece by piece. So if you are unfamiliar with the Harmony and Horror series, I do have an entire playlist of videos on the series that you can watch to catch up completely on the series. But if you are already caught up on the series, then we can just go straight into the video, straight into analyzing, and it's gonna be great. But before we get into the video, I do want to thank this video's sponsor, which is Raid Shadow Legends, baby. I think by now we all know what Raid Shadow Legends is, but in case you don't know, Raid Shadow Legends is an RPG mobile game. And you know, when I'm taking a break from analyzing analog horror series, something that I like to do is slay monsters left and right in the sewers of Arnok, using my favorite champion, of course, the Crusader. Every great game has some serious challenges waiting near the end. Well, in Raid Shadow Legends, the end game is the Doom Tower. Long ago, after Arbiter was created, she fought off these monsters created by Suroth. But she wasn't a god herself, so killing them was out of the picture. Instead, she built this magic tower and stuffed it with monsters of eldritch power. But now that Suroth is leaking back into the world, the Doom Tower is falling apart. Luckily, the Arbiter sends people like you and me to go inside and finish off these monsters for good. So right now I am on my way to Doom Tower. I've made it to the sewers of Arnok, and what's really great is that this month Raid has special events every single day, plus a bunch of new champions, but the biggest thing is the update which is coming this month, which is called the Guardian Ring. This update introduces new ways to use your champions, including a whole new faction guardian system, a new way to get legendary champions you missed out on, and an entirely new way to upgrade your favorite champions. So if you do want to get a huge head start in Raid, all you have to do is click the link in the description or scan the QR code and you'll get the hero Chonaru, 200k silver, 1 XP boost, 1 energy refill, and 1 ancient shard that you can use to summon an awesome champion as soon as you get into the game. And all your treasure will be right here when you log into the game. And once you're in, you can find me in-game under the name Wowman212, and if you are fast, you can even join my clan. Wouldn't that be epic? Alright, so without further ado, let's get into analyzing The Perfect Pet. In The Perfect Pet, the video begins showcasing a video game called Memory Lane. And right off the bat, we can see a clown inside of this car. And this clown, of course, is Martin Greywinder, the man who killed his entire family, as well as 11 others. A man who is also responsible for the creation of these demonic toys. The game begins and takes place at night inside of the woods. That's when we see a man in the distance carrying 2 body bags. This man is Martin Greywinder. Upon seeing the car, he drops the body bags, and a text above him reads, "Stay away from this man." And we can assume that that is the objective of this arcade game. Martin gets inside of the car and begins to drive away with both body bags inside of the car. The game proceeds as normal, with Martin collecting gas to fill the gas gauge at the top of the screen. However, something very interesting happens when Martin collects a tape in the middle of the road. And when this tape is collected, what plays out is a conversation between Mr. Norway and Mr. Stewart. And if we remember from previous episodes, Mr. Stewart is the officer that questioned Martin Greywinder in this tape called Rebirth. So that does mean that Mr. Stewart did have his suspicions about Martin before Martin would even begin his mass murders. And based on the tape, Are You Happy? We already know what happened to her. She was skinned by Martin, and her innards were put inside of a toy. However, the police never did find the body and therefore had nothing to convict Martin with. Therefore, after this conversation between Martin and Mr. Stewart, Martin was let go, which led to him murdering his family and countless others. So this is a new conversation between Mr. Stewart and Mr. Norway. Mr. Norway mentions that they are setting up curfews in the town, telling people to stay inside their homes after certain hours.
I hear they're setting up curfews, telling people to lock their doors at night. Does this have anything to do with that?
That's when Mr. Norway proceeds to give Mr. Stewart a tour of the establishment. But Mr. Stewart's fascination is with the horror games that Mr. Norway has created and placed inside of his building.
I know, if you have a look over here, we have the...
What's this room?
Those are some of the more mature games, sir.
Really? Clown Slasher, Haunted Dolls, Killer Dragon, The Puppet Maker, Clowns. What's with all the scary clown games, Frank?
And for Mr. Norway's arcade games, we actually do know a lot of characters that his games are based on. He has a game called Clown Slasher, which is about Martin Greywinder as the killer clown, a game called Haunted Dolls, which could be about Singing Sophia, and he also has The Puppet Maker, which is a character from Martin and Arthur's TV show. The TV show with a disturbing episode that made 2 children off themselves. And he also has a couple of other games about clowns. But then Mr. Stewart says this.
Glad to see you reading the latest news, because those clowns look an awful lot like the ones we're after.
He says that those clowns look a lot like the ones they're after, meaning that when this conversation takes place, there are multiple clowns running around the town, terrorizing people, which is why a curfew in the town has been enforced. But up until this episode, we have only known one clown, that being Martin. So right now it is a mystery of where these multiple clowns are coming from. And this could mean that Martin did make multiple demonic clown toys and set them free before his untimely demise. And another possibility to the multiple clowns is that the demons inside of the toys have taken over clown toys. Mr. Norway then proceeds to tell Mr. Stewart why he made these horror games revolving around the Harmony toy store.
Why'd you make the games, Frankie?
None of the parents believed me when I told them about the things that happened in this town, in that store.
So you figured the kids would?
Yes.
He proceeds to say that he knew about the atrocities that happened in the Harmony store. He made these games to scare children out of going to that store because the parents wouldn't believe him. So he made these games to warn the children. It is also worth noting that Mr. Norway is the owner of Franklin's Toy Store, a store that is right next to the Harmony toy store, as seen in Are You Happy? So this is how he knows about all the atrocities that went on in the Harmony toy store.
You said that you knew things about what happened in this town and in that store. Are these stories true?
Yes, everything.
Show me.
Mr. Norway knows exactly what happened in the Harmony toy store and is about to tell Mr. Stewart, but then it cuts out and the game continues. The game glitches and Martin stares directly at the player. Then the game glitches once again and what looks like a skinned person flashes in and out of the road. Seconds later, a demon appears inside of the car, grinning as it stares Martin down. And this is precisely when we see the crash of Bonzo. And what follows are the events that transpired this incident. The horrific things that Martin did to Bonzo. And this is a direct callback to the conversation that Martin had with his brother moments before Martin was going to kill him. They talk about this exact event.
I know what you did with the dog. Arthur, I told you he got hit by a car. And whose car did it hit? Whose car has a stain on its bumper?
Martin cut Bonzo open and put his innards into one of the Fuzzy Buddy toys, turning him into a monstrosity. A monstrosity that listens to Martin.
Attaboy, Bonzo.
Then we get a glimpse at the Bonzo toy placed inside of Macy's room. A toy that Martin put in her room to both protect her and to make sure she stays in her room. That's when the silhouette of a figure appears in the window of Macy's room. The tape glitches and we can see Bonzo's mouth completely covered in blood, with the voice of an infant screaming in the background. This is the night that Martin sent Bonzo to kill Ava. And if we do recall to the tape Rebirth, we can see the exact moment that Bonzo was conflicted. Now Bonzo didn't want to kill Ava, but Martin forced him to, because he did have control over Bonzo. And here we can see that Bonzo actually did it, and Martin pinned Ava's death on him. Then we can see a Bonzo toy in a dark facility getting closer each time the flashlight shows him. Finally, the person approaches the toy, and it attacks. What follows is a Bonzo toy watching a Harmony and Toys episode, and what plays on the TV is distorted footage of Bonzo, but then Ava makes an appearance on screen. Also, something to note that this isn't Martin's home, because if we do compare the wallpapers from Hello Martin and this episode, the wallpapers don't match up, so this is in fact not Martin's home. Which also means that we don't know who the child in this scene is. Bonzo's eyes turn red, and it leaps forward to attack, but is shot by a gun, and the shot kills the Bonzo toy. That's when the shooter reveals himself to be Mr. Stewart, the police from earlier, and the same police that questioned Martin Graywinder.
Hey kid, are you alright? It's alright. It's alright. My name is Mr. Stewart, okay? I'm gonna take you someplace safe.
The next scene is of what looks like an underground facility. Someone is in this facility, and there are demonic toys crawling on the walls. Toys that look a lot like the toy maker.
Well, of course I can.
Yay!
If it were possible.
So potentially these could be new toys that Martin did create before he was killed by his brother Arthur. Toys that resemble a character from his show, The Toy Maker. The final scene in the episode shows Ava, Martin's infant daughter, and Bonzo. The two are in a place that is no longer of this world. Ava walks toward Bonzo, his hand missing and lying inside a puddle of blood. But she falls and gets a crack in her skull, a crack that we saw in Don't Cry. The two make their way to each other, but Bonzo cannot continue. And then Bonzo recites something he said before he was forced to kill Ava in Rebirth. Ava finally makes it to Bonzo, but then the episode ends. But if we do go to an unlisted video that was included in an info card in this video, it takes us to a continuation of this scene, an episode called Free. In Free, both Bonzo and Ava are lying on the ground. Ava and Bonzo engage in one final conversation before their souls are finally set free. They have finally escaped from the prison that Martin put them in. But before their spirits leave, Bonzo apologizes for killing her, apologizing for something Martin forced him to do. So from this we know that Bonzo and Ava's spirits are finally free from the demonic things that Martin did to them. And the final unlisted video that we do get is called Rebirth. And if we look at the wallpaper in this video, this is in fact Martin's house. The video begins with an officer demanding that they open the door.
This is the police. Open this door. We know you're in there.
But then resort to breaking the door down.
Police, come out with your hands behind your head.
Two officers are here looking for Martin Graywinder. Officer Jameson and Lieutenant Jerry. The two decide to split up and look for Greywinder. However, as they explore the house, things start to get more disturbing by the minute. The first thing that we do see is what looks like an animal-like toy with a clown mask that runs up the stairs of the house.
Come out with your hands behind you. Ah!
So really quick, this episode does take place right before Local 13, where the news station has stated that there will be a manhunt for Martin Greywinder.
Tomorrow, the police will be hunting this man down.
The lieutenant finds his way into Macy's old room, and we can see a camera in the top right corner, a camera that we saw footage from in She Can't Sleep. And based off of previous tapes, Martin has cameras all over his house. We can also see drawings of the Sophia doll, a doll that Macy would eventually become. Jameson enters a room that leads to the basement where Martin conducted all of his experiments as seen in Good Boy. And in the basement, Jameson finds a Jack-in-the-Box with Martin's clown face on it. Shortly after, the lieutenant encounters a new toy that we have never seen before, but appears to be a hybrid toy made from the remains of Bonzo and Ava. The hybrid toy attacks Jerry as he screams for help from Jameson.
No! Jameson!
But we can assume him to be killed as his screams come to an end. That's when the hybrid toy makes its way to Jameson.
Freeze! Stop right there! Put your hands in the air! I said freeze! No!
The hybrid kills both Officer Jameson and Lieutenant Jerry. And what is interesting is that if we do take a look at this new hybrid toy, we can actually see the innards that were stuffed inside of the toy. Because as we know from previous episodes, the way for a toy to come to life is to perform a ritual. The ritual includes skinning the individual and inserting their innards inside of the toy, followed by satanic chanting in a room filled with candles. And if we go into the description of both of these unlisted videos, we can find a passage for each one. The letters are upside down and reversed. So if we do convert these into regular text, the passage for free reads as follows. You have chosen freedom. You merciful soul couldn't dare to witness hell unfold. Very well, the show must go on. And the passage for Rebirth goes like this. You have chosen Rebirth. Interesting. You do understand the consequences, don't you? Pity. Very well. Let's play God. And these two passages represent a choice that both Bonzo and Ava made in their final moments together. Do they choose to be reborn or to be free? Each unlisted video shows the outcomes of each choice. If they choose to be free, their spirits will leave their body, and they will finally be free. However, if they choose to be reborn, the events of Rebirth take place. The two will be combined into an entirely new monstrosity, and they will kill two innocent victims, Officer Jameson and Lieutenant Jerry. However, the timeline that the series will follow is still in question. But for the sake of dark analog horror, the series will most likely continue in the Rebirth timeline, with the creation of this new monstrosity that Ava and Bonzo have become. But I mean, it is nice to see that there is a timeline where Ava and Bonzo are free. We probably won't see that timeline, but it's still nice to see that there is a timeline where it does happen. And well, that was The Perfect Pet Explained. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode, and as always, feel free to poke holes in my theories because I do like hearing what you guys think. And if you do want to keep up to date on this series, I will be covering every single episode of this series, so if you're interested in that, subscribe. And if you want to be really cool, you can check out my Twitter. I post funny memes like this one. I'm gonna include it this time. I know last time I didn't even put the meme, but it's right here. But yeah, that is everything. You made it very far in this video, my friend. I think you are a very cool person. But yeah, that is everything. I also wanted to thank you guys for the continued support. It's been crazy. thank you guys for watching my videos. It means a lot. And I'm glad I can bring you guys great content that you guys want to see. Yeah, with that being said, you're awesome. I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe. Okay, that's it. Hair's getting long. Bye.